The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The first batch of COVID-19 vaccines will arrive in the country in just about 5 hours, and these jabs will be immediately brought to a facility in Marikina City. Let's discuss any last-minute reservations for the arrival of the vaccines. We have with us Marikina Mayor Marcy Teodoro. Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Risa, and to our viewers this day.
First, Mayor, can you again discuss to us the role of Marikina LGU in the arrival and transport of the vaccines?
Primarily, our role is of that of auxiliary services to the transport and storage of the vaccine. Uh, we are expecting the vaccine to arrive around 5 in the afternoon today in Villamor Air Base, and from Villamor Air Base, and we're expecting it to arrive in Marikina within 30 to 40 minutes. We will be providing traffic management services to the transport vaccine group and security in the immediate area of the storage facility. As we speak, we have already cordoned off the lane that will be used as route of the vaccine transport group, and we have already also coordinated with Meralco in order to ensure that there will be no power interruption in the grid wherein the storage facility is located, because it is very critical to maintain the correct temperature and the facility to have an uninterrupted power supply for the purpose of storage.
Mayor, could you give us details on the arrival of the vaccine? As of now, like 12 noon, what's the schedule looking like?
Uh, we have an advanced command post in the Metro Pacific Logistics. As we speak now, we have in that area also coordinated on how the vaccines will be unloaded and will be put into storage. Everything is now in place. It's all systems go. Um, our personnel that will assist the convoy of the transport vaccine group is already in Villamor, waiting for the arrival of the vaccine 5 hours before its arrival.
Well, we hope everything will be seamless. But Mayor, do we have mitigation plans for any possible hitches?
Yeah, definitely. We have coordinated with MMDA. We want the transport and storage of the vaccine to be seamless. So there will be a real-time updating on the location of the vaccine and how it is being handled. Of course, simulation exercises were done prior to this day in order not simply to determine the route and to establish the time of arrival, but more importantly, to train our personnel on how to handle efficiently and effectively the vaccine
Mayor,
on transport and storage. But more importantly, Risa, what we are preparing here in the city, and we are coordinating with the logistic company that will be handling the vaccine storage, is the deployment that we're expecting to undertake starting tomorrow and in the next 2 weeks, wherein the vaccine will be deployed and administered in various vaccination centers, particularly in COVID referral hospitals. And from there, level 3 to level 1 hospitals of DOH, and both public and private hospitals also, the vaccines will be administered in those places.
Mayor, you mentioned the deployment. So once the vaccines arrive in the storage facility in Marikina, how will it be, or how will the shots be brought to their destination hospitals?
It will be handled by the third-party logistics contractor. The DOH has provided them with the protocols and the guidelines on how, and the schedule, of course, on the delivery and deployment of the vaccines from the logistic hub or the storage facility to the corresponding hospitals where the vaccines are expected to be taken by our healthcare frontliners.
Mayor, do we have specific timeline upon a transfer of the vaccines again in the Metro Pack facility? When and what time will the vaccines be delivered to those said hospitals?
Uh, It will be the DOH who will be providing the schedule and the timeline for the said purpose. We're awaiting simply the instruction that will be coming from the DOH, since we have only we offered our logistical and traffic and as well as security assistance to the deployment of the vaccine. So it's up really to the DOH to determine the schedule based on their coordination with the vaccination team in the various hospitals.
Mayor Teodoro, finally, will Marikina be getting any share from the arriving vaccines, and if so, how much?
Yeah, definitely. Uh, Let me put forward that everybody will get its share. Of course, the DOH and the National Task Force has assured equality in the access to the vaccine, and definitely there will be inclusivity. There will be a pecking order, a prioritization framework that will be followed. It's being established, and last night, Metro Manila mayors, in consultation with the DOH, we have extensively discussed on how this pecking order will be implemented. Uh, the real issue here is the adequacy of the supply of vaccine. We have a very limited supply of vaccine. Today, we will be receiving Sinovac vaccine, and tomorrow, hopefully, we will be receiving the first batch of AstraZeneca. Um it was made clear by DOH that the individual who will be inoculated, our healthcare workers in various facilities, will have the right to refuse uh, the vaccine if he or she does not want to receive it based on her own assessment and evaluation, without prejudice to his or her eligibility to receive the next batch of the vaccine or the next available vaccine. Yes, we will receive, but this will be based on how many health workers do we have in our health facilities. So we have submitted the list to DOH. Similarly, other cities have already submitted their list based on the number of facilities they have in their respective localities.
Thank you for your time as always. That was Marikina Mayor Marcy Teodoro. Quarantine passes are still required in Cebu City even though they are under MGCQ. That's according to Cebu City Mayor Edgardo Labella, who said they want to prevent his constituents from, quote, putting their guards down. Those with quarantine passes are required to follow the odd-even scheme, where those with QR codes ending in odd numbers are allowed to go out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, while those ending in even numbers are allowed to go out on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. All quarantine holders are allowed to go out on Sundays. Labella added that cinemas, cockpits, and concert halls in the city will remain closed even though the national government has allowed their opening at 50% capacity. Meanwhile, Bohol Province will continue to require swab or negative swab test results as a mandatory requirement for visitors. In an interview here on One News, Bohol Governor Yap said they are not inclined to waive the mandatory requirement as they want to keep the virus in control. Yap also noted that there must be a balance of interest for those outside and inside of Bohol.
Moving forward in this new normal, it is always a play on balance, balancing the interests outside the Bohol and balancing the interest inside Bohol. We would like a return of our tourists and visitors and businessmen who come to Bohol to do business, but of course we have to balance that with the concern of the local residents who want to preserve the numbers we have right now.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. At least 5 protesters were killed and more than 175 people were injured in clashes between demonstrators and security forces in Iraq. According to a hospital source, most of the fatalities died from bullet wounds, adding that about 120 protesters were wounded. At least 57 members of the security forces, meanwhile, were injured from the clash. Protesters have been demanding the removal of the governor and justice for protesters killed, leading to a week-long clash between the two groups. Myanmar police and protesters clashed in the southeastern city of Dawei yesterday. Reuters reports Myanmar police can be seen firing canisters at protesters who blocked the road in protest against military rule. Myanmar has been in turmoil since the army seized power and detained elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi and much of her party leadership. Even with the police out in force, people still gathered to chant and sing before melting away into side streets as police advance, setting off stun grenades and firing into the air. Myanmar ambassador to the UN Kiao Mo Tun is now asking the international community for support against the military regime and to restore democracy.
The strongest possible action from the international community to immediately end the military coup, to stop oppressing the innocent people, to return the state power to the people, and to restore the democracy. ပြည်သူသာအဓိကပါအရေးတော်ပုံအောင်ရမည်
Asylum seekers entered the United States from Mexico on Friday. This is in light of a new policy by President Joe Biden meant to end the hardships endured by migrants in dangerous border towns. Some have even lived there for more than a year due to former President Donald Trump's controversial Migrant Protection Protocols program, which required asylum seekers to leave the United States and wait in Mexico pending court hearings. This new process under President Biden will gradually allow thousands of asylum seekers to await court's decision within the United States. But asylum seekers might have more to worry about once they reach U.S. soil. This as cases of racism-fueled hate crimes become more prevalent. But residents in New York's Chinatown are taking the initiative to come together and patrol the city's streets to prevent harassment. Take a look at how this neighborhood initiative is helping keep Asian Americans at ease.
Asians in this city, we're suffering the same hardships. We're under the same stress, but we do not look for anybody to scapegoat. Ever since COVID-19, there's been a lot of anti-Asian sentiment in the country. There's also a lot of harassment. We have cases of verbal abuse. There are even physical attacks in New York City. You know, we want to let people know that we won't tolerate this kind of behavior in Chinatown or the nearby areas. Chinatown Block Watch is a very simple concept of neighbors keeping an eye out for neighbors. We're here to witness, we're here to document pattern of harassment. Not everyone. New York City is a very tolerant city, but there are people out there, they're looking for someone to blame. And unfairly, the racists are pushing this agenda that we need to blame the Chinese or blame the Asians for this.
Watching these videos of Asians being attacked, all over the country and all over the world gave us a sense that it just wasn't very safe to come out. As a matter of fact, a lot of the older people in Chinatown also didn't feel safe, but a lot of times they're living alone. They have to go out and get their own shopping. Beginning of this group was to alleviate that.
Chinese have always been known to go about their daily lives, try to stay under the radar, but we get stepped on too often. That's why we have this Chinatown block watch. We've been present on the street here for over a month now. Where's my egg noodle? The police, right, 3 weeks ago, there was maybe 15 to 20% of the force was out sick with this COVID. We are not replacing them at all, right? We are extra eyes on the ground for them. If we see something, we're going to call and report it. But we're a visible deterrent. So it's reassuring to the residents of the community who are online to buy groceries. It's reassuring to the businesses that are open.
Black hair and have the mask on, they're going to look at me like they have the deceit in me. We don't know what's going to happen to us. In the neighborhood, I kind of feel safe because the police also on the patrol, and also the neighborhood, the community, they kind of keep an eye on it.
An incident on Grand Street a couple of weeks ago, customers didn't want to wear a face mask, or maybe they didn't understand. They didn't read the Chinese sign posted. A misunderstanding escalates quite quickly, especially when there's a language barrier. There's a need for disseminating information to business owners as they slowly open up, where we're not patrolling anymore. We've been passing out flyers in English and Chinese. 我俾兩個傳單你，你可以貼喺門口呢度冇口罩就冇入咁啦，嚇，大家安全着先啊嘛，嚇。So we're trying to disseminate information as we get it that we think is important for the community. The notices of government grants for small business, cash grants, forgivable loans, even maybe unemployment, whatever. A lot of people don't have access to English media, or they don't understand English. Well, this actually started, it was me and two other guys. So I put it on social media, and a lot of the residents, my friends that live in the area, they wanted to get involved. So now we have over 20 people. We're not all Chinese. We have a very diverse group here.
It's the racism that's going on, and not just in this community, but in this country, in this world, is something that we should all address and improve. Because if not, who will?
I was wearing a mask in early March, and someone did threaten me.
This is a very important thing, making sure that we're advocating for these people who are being victimized.
We're people of different ethnicities, backgrounds, but we're all coming together to fight xenophobia and racism.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again at 1 in the afternoon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.